mathematicians. Today we're going to talk about properties of real numbers. Okay? Properties are statements that are true for any number, and most of the time they're ones we already know and we use daily. We just don't really put a name to it. So first, the additive identity property. Additive identity means if you add 0, the number stays the same. Adding 0 does not change it. So if you add 0, the number stays the same. Okay? So 6 plus 0 still gives you 6. Additive identity. Adding 0 does not change. Multiplicative identity. The multiplicative identity is anything times 1 any number times 1. What do you know about timesing 1? It stays the same or equals itself. Multiplying by 1 does not change the number. So an example could be 6 times 1 equals 6. Multiplying by 1 does not change. So that's multiplicative identity. Multiplicative property of 0. What do you think this one means? A number times 0 equals 0. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0. So 6 times 0 equals 0. A number times 0 equals 0. Multiplicative inverse. Multiplicative inverse. These are what we call reciprocals. Okay. Two numbers whose product, and product means multiply, equals 1. Two numbers whose product equals 1. So they are reciprocals, which means if I start with 1/2 and I flip it to get 2, if I multiply those, it is 1. So these are what we call reciprocals, a number flipped, or if I start with 2, it would be 1/2. If I multiply those together, I'm always going to get 1. So if you're asked to find the multiplicative inverse, just flip it. So we're going to name each property. All right, name each property, then find n. So something times 12 equals 0. Right. If I'm wanting it to equal 0, which property must that be? Equaling 0. Multiplicative property of 0. If I want it to equal 12 and there's a times, it must be multiplicative property of 0. What must n be here to make this statement true? If it's multiplication, one of those has to be 0. So this has to be 0. Nice job. Try this next one on your own. Find the property and then figure out what n must be. Let's see how you did. If I want to multiply something to equal 1, all right, which of these properties equals 1? Multiplicative inverse. Well, we also know multiplicative inverses are reciprocals. So if one of the numbers is 1/5, The other must be the reciprocal. How do you find a reciprocal? You flip it. So 1/5 flipped is 5. N must equal 5. Some more properties for us. Reflexive is a number equals itself. For example, A equals A. 7 equals 7. I always think reflection when I hear the word reflexive. Think reflection. All right, you look in the mirror and you see yourself. Look in the mirror, see yourself. So that's a reflexive property. Symmetric is we can switch sides and still be true. Symmetric means we can switch sides. So A equals B. If I switch sides, B equals A. Those are both true. Thinking in terms of a math problem, 6 plus 3 equals 9. How else could we also write this using the symmetric property? 9 equals 6 plus 3. Both of these statements are the exact same. So symmetric property means switch sides. The transitive property is my favorite. And the transitive is cut out the middleman. Cutting out the middleman. So, for instance, if we know A equals B and B equals C, since A equals B but B equals C, then A must equal C. Okay, we're going to cut out that middleman that they both share. They both equal B, so they actually equal each other. Right. So cutting out the middleman, the piece that they share. They both equal B, so they must equal itself by the transitive property. The last one is the substitution property. And this is replacing things that are equal. Replacing things that are equal. Replacing things that are equal. Okay. For example, if I am given 3 times n, and then I'm told n equals 15. All right? Instead of 3 times n, I can replace this as what? 3 times 15. So I'm substituting in, instead of an n there, I'm replacing it or substituting in 15. So instead of 3 times n, I now have 3 times 15. Okay? So properties of real numbers. Nice job today, mathematicians.